It's been a while I've recorded actually. Been busy with a few things and haven't had a chance to do much. But today, now that I have some time off for myself, I've decided to go out. It's a nice, clear morning today. Well, it's called for fog, but as you can see behind me, it's not as foggy as I want it to be. But it definitely creates a little bit of an atmosphere. So I'm out here in Rondeau Park, located in Chatham, Kent, pretty much southwest Ontario. It's a bit wet, chilly, but as December goes, it's not too bad. So today, I am gonna go and shoot some landscape, see if I can grab anything that gets my attention. I've visited this place many times, whether I've done wildlife or some kind of landscape, or at the same time I've just come here for a simple hike. It does lean towards a nice little area away from the city. So today I'm actually going to test out one of my sought after cameras, which took me some years to actually locate and find. Ooh, a little bit slippery. Just because of its rarity and the high price point that it actually goes for. It makes it also difficult to grab one. But finally got it. It is a Perfekta made by Welta, a German company from the 1930s. It was actually manufactured around 1934s, and it was a predecessor of the Super Perfekta, which was a 6x9 camera. The Perfekta is a 6x6 camera. What makes this particular camera very unique is it is a TLR, but it folds, and thus a very unique camera. They were meant to be compact, foldable, and just very similar to like a vest camera. But unfortunately, they were expensive to make. The unique design of the waist level finder also kind of made it bulky. But it is definitely a unique camera. I can't recall of any other folders. There's a TLR as well. So definitely a very rare camera, but definitely worth getting if you're able to locate one for a decent price or in same time condition. So yeah, I've had it for a while, but haven't had a chance to take it out, and I definitely want to take it out for a little spin. I have loaded it up with a Delta Ilford 3200 black and white film, and I'm hoping to utilize all 12 shots today. And the overcast and slight fog that we have in today's weather should hopefully achieve some cool shots. At the same time, I have brought in my tripod just in case I need it for the slower speeds. So it's definitely an interesting camera to use. One of the things you probably will have to be careful if you do find one is the film counter for some reason slipped on me a couple of times. Luckily I didn't have any film in it. Usually I would just use dry film, or sometimes I'll just use a mock film that I have laying around that I'm no longer using. And yeah, it slipped at around the 7th exposure or so. I was able to remove the couple of screws that's holding the top plate in together, kind of clean it up a bit and put it back on, and since then I haven't had any issues. As long as I turn the advance knob gently and slowly. I find if you rushed it, the little tiny gears that's in there kind of allows for slippage. So definitely not something that you want to kind of rush in, because the last thing you want to do is lose on the number of exposures that you're on and you have no idea where you're at. But yeah, so hopefully it doesn't happen to me while I'm shooting this video. So I'll definitely keep an eye on that. So unfortunately, I was hoping for much thicker fog. Been hoping for some time to grab a nice foggy atmosphere. But being where I am located, it's a hit and miss. So sometimes we do have a fog warning or a fog in the forecast. More or less, this is what we're kind of looking at. But there are the rare occasions where a thick fog drops in and creates a whole mood. But, you know, as typical as it is, you're usually working or doing something else that doesn't allow you to take your cameras and shoot with it right away. So hopefully I'll get that kind of weather one of these days. But for now, I'm enjoying it. It's a nice, cool, crisp morning. It's quiet. Not many people around, which is always a bonus. And yeah, just enjoying the morning. It's all about the composition, and sometimes you have to get down to your knees. I've actually laid down on my stomach completely to get the shot that I want. So when you're going on hikes and you want to take certain pictures of certain angles, make sure you're wearing clothes that you're not going to be too bothered if it gets a little dirty. Probably even have an extra pair in the car in case, like today, where it's damp and wet and slightly slippery as well. So, you know, just never get too worried about how or where you want to take shots. There's always opportunity from the ground up. There's times I wish I can climb the trees so I can take certain angles from there, but not too brave for that yet, especially when you're carrying old cameras with you that don't make any more of them. So you definitely don't want to be risking certain things just because you want to get that shot. I'm still kind of experimenting with compositions myself. I usually tend to lean towards, the 1/3. Though every once in a while, I'll put some geometry into my shots and do some linear shots and, experiment that way as well. So, in other words, just don't hesitate. Grab your camera, take a couple of shots. You learn from that. You didn't like how it came out? Well, next time, go about, try a different way until you find a certain type of photography you like to do when it comes to composition. So definitely try to experiment with a lot of things. So, I've got about 5 more shots to finish off my roll. Kinda moved on from the last place I was in and decided to go to a different part in the park, which is nice about Rondeau. There's a little bit of everything, other than the campgrounds that they do have opened during spring and summer. Their trails do change based on where you are at the park. Some of them are a little bit more dense, and they do also have the beaches that could provide some interesting shots as well. I don't think I'll be doing that today though. But yeah, weather's still a little bit on the cool, damp side, but I believe part of the fog has kind of finally lifted, which is unfortunate. I was kind of hoping for some kind of intensity to create some mood, but I think the day itself has created its own mood, so I'm not too disappointed. It is what it is when you kind of go into photography and you can't really control these things. So you just kind of roll with it, go with it, and kind of make it happen. That's the beauty of photography. Sometimes you see things in different perspectives, and I just kind of show up and take a few shots that I kind of like. Well, I know I said I wasn't going to go to the beach side, but the trail that I took ended up taking me to the south point of Rondeau. and I saw this dead tree. It's just kind of halfway in the water and halfway on the ground. And yeah, I decided that that was gonna be my shot. So, my biggest concern just happened, unfortunately, after taking that last shot. The counter on the camera decided to release the spring that keeps the tension at where the exposure is. So I did take my 9th shot, but at the same time, now I have no idea where I am. So hopefully, if I time it right, I should be able to get 2 more, hopefully 3 more shots in the next few little bit. That's one of the risks that you run with old vintage cameras. You unfortunately have to deal with certain situations and circumstances. And so it could be definitely a pain at times, but it is what it is. Can't fret over it. So that's all for today. Definitely was an experience taking this little beauty out for the first time. It definitely is a unique alternative when it comes to TLRs, or like a hybrid of a TLR and a bellow camera. I could see why this particular design probably didn't kickstart as much as they hoped they did when they first made this back in the 1930s. But compared to the later TLRs that came out with the more rectangular box shape, um, it tends to be a little bit easier to maneuver. A few things to take note when you are shooting with the Perfekta is when you do extend the bellows, you have to make sure that the arms are snapped in place. If not, then you do risk out of focus images just because the front panel isn't locked in prior to you focusing the composition. Another thing to note is the advanced knob does not lock in every exposure, so you'll have to remember to advance your film every time you take a picture. So there's definitely a risk of double exposure if you're not careful. The other inconvenience, unfortunately, that I've mentioned earlier was the um, counter mechanism. I don't think it's more about the gear, but I think it has a spring system that is giving out at around eight, 8 or 9 exposures, and definitely something I'll need to look into next time around when I get a chance to open it up again and see what I'm working with. It could be just an easy replacement, or it could be something that I'm gonna be stuck with for a while, for the rest of its lifespan. And if that's the case, I'll probably try to see if the red window at the back would be just as sufficient than the counter itself. So that could be a possibility as well to try out. If you did enjoy this, please like, subscribe. I do also try to show repair videos as well. So if you want to have a look into those and see something that you're trying to fix yourself, by all means, have a look there, and hopefully it's helpful for you as well. All right, well, have yourself a good one, and Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and a Happy New Year as well. I'll probably try to post more often when I can, but it's definitely not going to be anytime um, till the next year. So until then, take care, and we'll see you guys later.